down to zoning ordinance discussion.
Buy the entertainment for the evening.
Well,
It's closing.
the meat and potatoes.
There's some copies up there, everybody wants.
Thank you.
Anybody have a preference for where we start? Because I left off with some handouts last month and things to read, but probably or I can jump right into the map and get it out today, or
Jump in.
yes. Okay. So what I put together in the map that was handed out here, we identified like four areas that we wanted to look at in terms of starting to put what actual zoning. Last month they handed out the description of potential zoning districts. Big list of permitted uses that would go in, various zoning districts you have to choose from. And we identified four areas that what would this look like when you turn those like roughly drawn circles into an actual zoning district. We were looking at the area around the interchange, the area down Fort Harrisburg Road, the area down closest to the 234 interchange, and then the 94 corridor, and the area what's currently a residential zone around York Springs. I didn't get that far because as I was going through this, I figured there's like 3 or 4 to talk about. That was probably enough for one night. So we'll go there. I'll jump. Actually, there's an easy one to take care of. Up in the map, there's a purple section up in the top corner.
Yep.
Those are all of the Nouse properties in your township. There's more Nouse properties up there. They're just not in yours. The only little thing there that I know we said we would try to keep it to parcel lines. The only thing that's a little bit weird there is there's right under where the I and Idaville on there. It's like a little purple triangle there.
Yeah.
That property actually goes down into Tyrone Township and comes back up. It's separated in your township. It's separated by the Hubbard property in between. I don't know that that's gonna fly, but that's a different story. It's only there because again the rest of the property swings down into Tyrone Township. There's not much you can do about it.
How's Hubbard's how's that property done?
It's currently in your residential agricultural district. It's as far as I understand, it's an active farm. So I wouldn't recommend putting it in that same district there. The only flip side is that one little triangle of the Nouse property is going to probably have to be in the ag district, and whatever the ag district is up there. Simply because it can't stand, it's isolated there.
It's not gonna be by itself, yeah.
So that's whatever name we call for that district, that's what it would look like up there. It's kind of what it is now.
What does Nouse do on that little triangle now? Or do they have?
I think that's in the creek bottom, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
So they don't have a building on it?
Pretty sure it's just woods down there.
Just a sliver down to the bridge there.
Yeah,
You come down Reservoir Road and then they have bin storage and then that goes down the other side of the railroad tracks.
Yep.
Yeah, it sits on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah. And bottom ground. Probably where that's how you couldn't build on anyhow.
Okay.
It has no road frontage. There's properties between it, a little triangle, and Idaho Road.
Yep.
So it's truly it's a isolated little chunk. It's just the quirk of where the municipal boundary was drawn.
Maybe a well, I don't know, there might be a water source on it, I don't know.
Okay. But again, that's what that district would look like. It, based on your current drawing of that, there's property there that it's actually taxed. No, it's in there. It's like a 6-acre property there that it extends into other municipalities. It's kind of split right now. So the district that would actually expand from what it is now, but only to catch the entire portion of one of their properties. There is another. There are now some properties that are not in that zone, but there are some of the orchard land they own around there, and it's actually taxed in Cumberland County, not Adams County.
Okay.
So it doesn't. We have it, but it doesn't necessarily show up on our tax data because it's not taxed here. So, but we didn't include the field farm, the orchard, the production side what they own in that district. So that's the east one. We'll go down to the pink district, which is down by close to 234. Now I had our GSP put a little table at the top that shows the acreage and parcels in there in each district. A little word of warning when you look at those numbers. They're in all of them that have 15 in it. The acreage and the numbers of parcels are inflated because 15 is an easement.
Is included.
It's not subtracted out of the part.
No, because there are the right of way from 15. If I zoom in here, you see like anywhere from 130 to 170 foot strips between 15, the edge of the road, and Barks property, whatever property backs up to it. It's a quirk of how 15 was built and acquired. The land, they're essentially right of ways, but they show up as parcels because it's the quirk of GIS. So they're not big, but it's little strips along there. So the numbers are inflated, but it's inflated because it's actually including those little strips of right of way
No,
for 15.
this is the proposed change, correct?
This is the first cut. It's first draft for it.
I don't
Can be
want to
changed.
throw water on your parade, but at the township meeting, it was part of the meeting that the residents are gravely concerned about data centers. And I am as well. And I do not want to do anything that would encourage or make it more desirable for a data center or a warehouse. Now, I know legally we have to provide for every use. My feeling is provide the bare minimum to legally be within the law. And it's a hot issue,
Right.
as you probably well know better than anybody. That's the last thing this township needs.
Right.
And personally, I will do anything that I can as an elected official or an appointed official to try and keep that from happening. All I hear from other, and I'm not talking about normal residents, over the last months I've talked to several people in other townships that it's pretty much a nightmare. It's a nightmare in waiting. They con you into going to this, and they got unlimited funds, money beyond our imagination, so they can pretty much get what they want by hook or by crook. And I'll do whatever I can, and I'm not speaking for the rest of the board, I'm only speaking for myself. And as a township supervisor, I will oppose anything that I think will encourage or make it desirable for a warehouse or a data center. And we've been getting information from some of these other townships, some of the things that they're doing whether or not it is of any value. I know we don't have a lot to offer, and that's okay with me. You know, and so that's just where I stand, and most everybody in the township that I've spoken to is on the same page. And so, I mean, I don't mean to steal.
No.
You're the expert here. You'll have to guide us, and it was on the agenda that they want, we don't need to hurry, but we can't sit on our laurels and hope that it doesn't happen here, because it can.
So,
We wouldn't have thought, you hear all the stuff that's going on in Carlisle. They got 700 acres over there. And I know of one of the farmers that sold his property, it was a bee farm, to the data center, and the amount of money that they offered him, you know, it's unreal. We're talking 10 times the going rate.
I went a proposal, this was not even formal, just that there was an inquiry of what do you think in another municipality, and they mentioned numbers and everything. I think I said this before. The township told me as part of the planning process what they said, and the consensus was you feel like the biggest financial idiot in the world to say no. The dollars they talk about are so big.
So enormous, yes.
It really requires you to swallow hard and say, you know, because most people faced with the you mentioned it here,
Correct.
you know, it can the dollar sign they show you is so big that it's hard to.
It is, and they know this. And you know, it's it's almost like David and Goliath.
So I'll start by talking about the one up in Middlesex Township in Cumberland County. It is approved. They're starting to move. There's also a legal appeal up there. It's the attorney that's representing the opposition is the same attorney that successfully defeated the solar farm project down in Joy Township here in Adams County. I've talked to him before. He's aggressive, you know, and he's willing to try unique things. This argument that he's making there is an interesting one because it impacts one of the ways that some municipalities have accommodated data centers, and that's what we call overlay zones. What they did there was they have an overlay zone that covers I think it's 4 parcels that project sits on. That's the only place where they allow it. What he's saying is that's spot zoning, which is very legal definition. But if they're successful, number one, that's going to really upset some things up there as far as that project is. That has impacts on how you zone for it. I know Mr. Van Township has theirs in an overlay. There's some others that do as well. Overlays allow you to, permit it in one specific place. Well, like in say one portion of your commercial district, but not the whole district, not the whole township. So whether that holds up legally, that's to be decided. There are 2 short-term techniques that can be used. Obviously, you can amend your zoning ordinance to include some more you have to decide where. If you decide where and you decide what you want to do, there's another process called municipal curative amendment. It's section 609.2 or something like that in planning code. It's the only avenue for municipalities to completely pause development of something. But you only get 6 months to fix the ordinance. So you vote, pass a resolution, then you have 6 months to amend the ordinance to fix the defect. It's very, very quick turnaround time. You pretty much have to know what you want, where you want it, and what you're doing when you do it. But what that basically does for that 6 months, somebody wants to come in and bring one in, sorry, there's a moratorium there for that 6 months. But point is, you have to do that to put standards in. Which, getting back to tonight, you have to decide where you want to accommodate those
So
things.
in other words, with that law or whatever you cited there, we could put that in our reserves, so to speak, that we're not gonna put it on paper, but if one does come in, we have it drafted or whatever, where we can then implement it.
Well, you'd have, if your attorney would go through that process, he'd basically give you a 6-month window where you're working on putting standards in your ordinance, and nobody can propose one.
It's just a grace period till you get your shit.
Just recognize it's a
Pretty much.
very short.
Yes.
Right, but what I'm saying is, could we preemptively plan ahead of time? In other words, down at the bottom there in pink, let's just use one property, one parcel down there that we would say that's our overlay spot, but we don't wanna put it in there. We know that come that time, we kinda already got that figured out, so we're not trying to rush around.
I think it's more sophisticated.
Well, I'm sure it is, but can it be
What I would
done
suggest-
and put in reserves in case you need it? I guess is what I'm getting
What
at.
I would suggest is,
Because to try and do all that from scratch, you ain't gonna do that in 6
Right.
months. But it could be a year or two before we get something. So why can't we start working on that ahead of time?
right, and if not, we come away with nothing, maybe that's what we come away with tonight, is, because that impacts these 3 districts that I have shown on here, plus the little gray hat area over on 94. That's really the purpose of tonight's discussion, is these are your commercial, your industrial, your big ticket, impactful development districts. Where do you want some of these types of uses to go? If you come to some sort of rough consensus tonight, that would give its attorney, whether it's us or whoever is doing that, a directive to go. You could certainly put it in your current ordinance and use that process.
Now, you said that overlay thing, that's what they're trying right now. So it hasn't been tested yet legally.
It's been used, but
It's
that
getting
one,
tested in court.
it's getting
now.
it's getting tested. I could, again, I'd be interested to know what Todd would think, but it's an interesting argument, but it's the type of argument that, again, planner hat on. If the courts would sanction that overlays for spot zoning, that's going to break a lot of ordinances, not just those. Like every floodplain
Just they
district is
say
overlay.
that one goes, it may create a lot of problems.
Right, like airports. There's a required overlay for airports by another state law, but it's very targeted to a specific use. You're saying that spot zoning, that's conflicting with another. Are the courts going to be willing to draw to break things that badly? I don't know. But to sort of refocus here, the RC district down by 234. It has 17 parcels in it, 348 acres. there's one property there's 131 acres, another's 97 acres, another's 38 acres. And then another one's 27 acres. And the rest are either remnants of little fingers of properties that are actually in Tyrone Township, or smaller properties that are just trapped between the larger farms, between 15 on Harrisburg Road and the rest of their access, which is again down through Heidelberg and Tyrone Township. Given for the conversation we had last time about White Church Road and that side, I drew that side to only include 4 properties. The sports complex, whatever.
What was the sports
that? The
Diller property and
Diller.
sign company.
the sign company, and there's another one in there that I'm probably going to take out. It's the Shaw property. It's one of those that has a there's a tiny little finger of property strip between White Church Road and the right of way for 15. It was included in there because the line is so tight. That thing, I don't think that needs to be in there. The rest of the property, the other side of White Church Road is not in there. So it's effectively the Old Sports Complex, Diller, and Sign Place are the only. This is the three commercial properties on that side of the road, side of 15.
There's an auto repair business that's been there for quite a long time. I would say that
Sills.
that should be included in
Well,
that.
it's on the other side of.
It's been in. It's in it.
Well, there's a lot in there right now.
Well, yeah,
You don't
but
have
I'm
it
just
here.
saying, you have an existing business, just like the other couple businesses on there that.
That's the next property up from the Sign Place. That's easy enough to include.
15.
I think I
I'm
would
not
expect
not
that.
familiar with it, so I didn't know if that was
It's
something.
been there a long time.
I think he bought that because it was commercial and that's why he put the business in there.
It
You
is-
can't
it is.
go.
It is.
Is that triple weight? He's triple weighted.
Yeah, I would like to see that included in that map.
Well, are you unincluding? I don't understand what you're doing here, because you're saying we're gonna take part of what's commercial now, blue on that map, so everybody can see it,
Yeah,
and we're gonna make it rural commercial. And you're gonna leave the other part commercial?
no,
No.
it's not.
Only those
Well, you
four
can't,
properties I
to
mentioned.
Cody's point, you can't do that. You're gonna take out some people's businesses.
You're taking out commercial land on the other side of 15 there at the Keckler property.
Yeah.
It's not on this map. It's already commercial on that map
Yeah.
and that map.
So I don't wanna take away somebody's
You don't call it-
commercial enterprise.
So I tried to draw it. Now the one that with the Rudisill one, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, people probably buy
Rudisill one, I wasn't sure
Okay.
on that one, so that's the reason I wasn't sure how extensive that was. That's not a problem to add.
Yeah.
But the land use we did, there's no other significant commercial properties on that side, but besides the old baseball property, the mulch place, the sign place, and there. The rest of them are residential or agricultural properties. The discussion last time led to, we want to pair that back, that side of 15 back to what was existing commercial properties. If we want to expand it beyond that, we can. But if you want to stick to what the commercial is now, this is what that side of the road would look like. So if there's other ones we want to add, that's fine. I just need to know what they are.
Yeah, I think we need to think about that. Because the other thing is, if somebody bought a property because they expected it to be commercial, because it is, I don't know, I feel very arbitrary saying, you know what, we're gonna wake up one morning and it's not gonna be commercial.
No, it's not commercial.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Right,
I mean, you're right.
even if they're not doing anything with it yet, they just bought it as an investment or
Well,
something like so.
that's exactly what was done to me and my property.
But,
There was a business there since 1970, in the commercial business, and they come in and zoned us residential. Tell me that if I close my business now, for 2 years, I can't open it back up.
That's what you were talking about.
I did that to everybody in the township when they first brought zoning here.
see, I'd rather, first of all, I don't want to do that. And second of all, it seems like to the point, if we're gonna be anti-data center, then I think we're better off with rural commercial than commercial, depending on how we ultimately define rural commercial. So that's part of what our thinking has to be here as well.
So
But does that exclude us from making accessible to total commercial?
Making what accessible?
Well, it all says we gotta provide for whatever business.
Yeah, we still have commercial. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
So just to close out that side, based on your current map,
Yeah.
current zone, commercial district down in this side, it's only essentially moving 1, 2, well, not even full, it's really portions of 1,
Yeah, that's the
2,
problem, is
3,
there's portions that make it
4,
worse. But
5, basically 6, and one of those is that it's removing is a residential, is a clearly residential property. Next, it goes one past the water repair. I believe that's actually it's residential property there. Everything else is it's basically a straight line down through the properties there to get the sports complex. So it's removing portions of properties, all of which front White Church Road, and I believe most of them are residential or large properties with houses, and barns. There's the Episcopal Church congregation, whatever that's there. That's half it's currently in, the half on the west side of White Church is in, and half on the east side is out. So it's not removing a significant number of properties there. It's removing properties that are currently split between multiple zoning districts already. You can add them back in, and so you can see what it looks like if that's what you would like to see. But
I understand not wanting to split properties, because
but they're split already.
yeah, I know. But at the same token, to change this up on people that may have had plans or current businesses, I don't feel that's right for us to do that to them. So maybe we expand them with those properties that are split. If we expanded it to a property line in the positive, is that gonna be a major shakeup, or are those properties small enough where if we make the whole piece, follow what I'm saying there?
yeah, so
Because it should follow property lines, I agree, but I don't want to take stuff away from people either.
well, then what I'll do is the next iteration here is I'll add those in. The ones that are split in that zoning district, I will add in. Now, I will be perfectly candid with you here. That northernmost line of it, I think that I have to show you because I can't really describe it.
Is the projector broken, or?
Yeah.
This blue line is where district is now. See it cut. This is the repair shop.
Yeah.
This is the residential property next door. It cuts
It's
off
part of another
part
property.
of another property.
Yeah, I know. It's a mess. It should have never been done the way it is. I agree
Well,
with
the corner there was just drawn haphazardly, so
Right.
it cuts this one.
But
I
I think
would put this one and I put this one.
with logical here, that little sliver is not going to make or break this property owner's future development or property values, so that we can, yeah,
Right. I get that. I think
right, just follow that line, right? That should have been done in the first place.
you. Yeah, it should.
Wait a minute, you're talking about taking the frontage that's commercial?
It's not actually frontage. It's a goofy side triangle.
It should have never been.
Yeah.
The line was drawn that
Yeah.
didn't follow. So
It's
it's
not
just
gonna-
this little. It
it's
should
not
have
gonna
gone
impact
over here in the
it.
first place.
Yeah.
What about on the other side of Old Harrisburg Road where that property was just
So,
sold and it was sold as a commercial?
It's because the frontage, I think, is commercial.
yeah, and it's split.
It's,
At least the Keckler farm, the frontage.
it would be
3 parcels on it.
between
Halfway there.
Oxford and
It's here.
Willow.
Is
These,
it that one?
It's 2 on one side,
It's
road,
here.
one on the
Yeah,
other.
it's
Yeah.
right here.
all those lots there have all been,
There's 3 of them.
that one, this one was also sold too, but that's part of it right there.
But this part up here was never in.
Correct, right, it's just below.
So if it wasn't in, was it in commercial? I don't know.
We're gonna do.
Yeah,
Or did he just think it was gonna be in commercial when he bought it?
The frontage is the commercial.
So the one that we saw subdivision plan for recently, that one was never in commercial.
Okay, well then it's no.
That one was not.
Okay.
Now, everything to the property to the immediate south of it, so there's that weird shape where there's a little
that
strip
point?
that goes back through there.
Mhm.
The property to the south of that one, that's where that little finger that goes on the other side of Old Harrisburg Road, where the commercial district was there. I mean, again, it's only the frontage of the properties that are there.
Oh,
Quite frankly, when it was drawn, it shouldn't have gone over on that side in the first place. There's no.
But it was, and that's the same thing we dealt with over on White Church Road when they wanted to put the ballpark in. The frontage of that property was commercial, so there you are locking up a property. Should never been that way in the first place. We voted to make it commercial because it makes sense. Front of your property is commercial, that's the main part of your property.
So if you take all of those properties in, that would put another 40 acres that goes back onto Oxford Road. 14 acres, 10 acres, 16 acres. So you're at 7, 9, 8, let's call it 80 acres there. You know, that is basically extending that commercial district from Old Harrisburg Road, basically to encompass everything on Oxford Road, up to the little residential properties that are on the other side of the road from the Rock Chapel.
So now you're creating a bigger zone to make it more attractive to data centers.
Well, or anything commercial.
Well, yeah.
That's I mean, I get that it was, you know, the line was drawn there, the properties were split. But that's, truthfully, that's not really a commercial setting,
No.
you know?
right.
It's a rural setting. You go back up that road towards the Rock Chapel, it's a rural setting.
Yeah, that's not
There. I mean, if you want, I can show it if you want. I mean, it's yours. I'm gonna have the maps show whatever you want to see. But we talked before about making Old Harrisburg Road the
Boundary facing.
cutoff
Okay.
there. You know, if you want to see what it looks like, I can.
I'm gonna make one other point though, and I'll be quiet about this. I don't think we should be using this process to manage the data center issue.
No.
We can use writing zoning for data centers and overlays to manage the data center.
Correct.
Right.
That's where I am.
Why affect all the other township and what other people want to do because of one
Right.
issue?
We should use this process to do what we originally set out to do with this process.
Correct.
We should be getting a zoning thing to take care of that, I think,
Yeah.
instead of having the other stuff.
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah.
Yeah. that's the way-
And we can actually minimize or mitigate the probability of data centers if we do this process right, but we don't have to use this process with that ultimate objective.
Correct.
So let me ask this another way. And really, the big three of objectionable use at the moment are solar farms, data centers, and warehouses. And that's what it is. Those big three. It's changed over the years. Those are the current big
Those
three.
are the big three.
You know, got to provide from somewhere. You know, they're objectionable. So if it's not something you necessarily want to encourage, okay. You don't have a super big industrial area
Correct.
to stick them in. So you
God
gotta
already
stick-
arranged for us to discourage all three of them. Yep.
You
But
know,
I don't want to step on the rest of the community's ambitions or other businesses just to stop a couple things that may never come down the road anyway.
Agreed.
And we don't need to.
No.
So let me ask, is it safe to assume that for, let's take solar farms, it's an easy one. It's usually either the industrial district, the ag district, industrial, commercial district, or ag district. I would assume that don't want it in the ag district.
It's already not allowed in our ag district, so you can do more than assume it. That's the way our code is written, as we sit here today, on purpose.
Right, so then the question is, which of the three districts do you want? The area you want, well, we're just talking about commercial district, other things.
Right.
Warehouses, and data centers, they have two different impacts.
Yes.
Warehouse is vehicles and light and other
We
sound
have a lot of space.
and
Yep.
and land hubs.
Yeah, yeah.
Data centers are the same thing, just
Without the trucks.
Without the trucks, and different type of noise.
And
Water and electric. use.
water and electric.
And electric.
Yeah.
So, you have the area down around Heidelberg, the area around the interchange in York Springs. There as two current areas, just we can talk about what the map looks like. Do you think that data centers and warehouses are appropriate in the setting around the 94 interchange?
No.
And they're gonna go down to Heidelberg anyway, because what data center's gonna buy a 15-acre piece of ground anyhow?
There's small pieces.
Yeah.
There's not a lot.
There's only one spot they're gonna go in this township, that's down at the bottom there. All that place. And that's where it should be anyway, if it's gonna go in somewhere.
What are you defining as down at the bottom?
Down where your road, you're back down with.
Off of Hyde, yeah.
Yeah.
White Church isn't enough room.
No.
But off of Old Hyde.
They're gonna be in that section of the commercial
Yeah.
district. Any of them three we're worried about.
That's tough they've been there, but you're right. If
If
they were gonna go somewhere,
that's
that's
where
where
they're gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, now, if you notice on the map, I have an area there, they're hatched in the gray lines up on the, on
Yes.
94,
Yeah.
around
Yes.
the school district
Yeah.
and et cetera.
Yep.
That is that's 94.
Yep.
It's one of the three highest classification roads in the county,
Yep.
along with 15 and 30.
Yep.
It does not have utilities. It has the road, the access.
Great road.
For what we've seen, we concur that putting those uses near the population areas is a recipe for problems. Right. So that would seem to preclude the commercial district. The area that Cody talked about down Heidelberg, there's not as many people down there. There's still some in the village. There's less. But those two areas both have utilities nearby
And road, yeah.
and road access. The area over on 94 that's hatched has the road access and not near populations. It doesn't have utilities. It's also more of an active farming area. So it depends on what you want. Now that area over there might be more of the overlay type.
Andy, which area is more active farming, are you saying? Because I don't see much difference between those two
They're
areas.
both pretty active.
Between Callender's and all this out here and Davis's and over here. Which one did you say were more active?
Well,
I wasn't following you.
I was talking up here, but this is Connolly.
And
And the Keller, I believe.
is any of their farms preserved out there at all?
I don't think
No.
so.
The only,
Or
the
not?
only property, the only property in these settings I looked that's preserved is this,
Okay.
is this one, which is the farm. There's the split here in Baltimore Road where it has the Y goes on either side of the
Yeah,
barn.
yeah, that's down at Hankey's.
It goes over here.
Yeah.
That's preserved for Land Conservancy. That's the only one.
I was hoping one of Keller's was, because that would make that all meet point if that was,
No.
okay.
I don't think that's it.
So were you getting to a question?
Well, my question was, the areas where you have utilities have varying degrees of people. The area where you don't have people has land, not utilities.
Yep.
So, as you're think your decision here, thinking about this, that's something to think. Now, we have designed in the rural commercial versus the commercial versus commercial industrial, whatever it might be, precisely to give you the option to split these uses amongst various different districts based on where you think they best fit in the district. So, for example, if you wanted to allow the solar farms in the commercial district, okay, probably small, probably not going to happen, but
Probably not.
that's there. If you wanted to allow data centers in the rural commercial, because that's where the land is, okay, fine, that would be not there. You wanted to put warehousing by the interchange, because that's where the roads are, okay, it doesn't have to be done there. By having separate, right now you have one district, by having separate districts, that allows you that choice to put it in one place and not have to allow it to the other. That's the point there. What I'm suggesting here with the area on 194 is that gives you a third option to put those uses somewhere, depending on how you want to do it.
Yeah.
So.
And we have a logical argument,
Right.
if challenged.
So, what I'm trying to present you with here is options to think about for these type of uses, depending on, so that you have options to put it. You're not limited by just one zoning district. So if I put it in this zoning district, it has to be in all these places.
Right.
We don't have to do that, but it's going to require figuring out where you do want that
Now,
to be.
does that give the potential investor or whomever more choices? Meaning that, well, if I don't like this location, maybe I'll go over there.
That would, yes, if you use the same zoning district in all three locations.
Exactly, what you're talking about is to give them
all
less
three
choice.
different things, and
Well,
that takes care
I
of
just
that.
give you
And write different code for
Yeah,
them.
not that I don't, my thinking is, don't give them that option.
Yeah,
So-
my answer to your question is no, because what we do by having different choices is write code that fits in those
For
choices.
each district.
So when,
Right.
yes, when you come here with a small data center, you're gonna say, the only place I can really put that in
Is right
Huntington
here.
Township is here.
And these are the.
And here's are the rules, and
And if you-
if he can fit it in, it's not the end of the world, because we thought about it.
Yeah.
And we wrote the good
Okay.
code to.
And that's what I was,
Instead of, you got 6 places to put it now, we don't want that.
no, that's why I asked the question. I was hoping that's what you were alluding to.
So for example, you could say, okay, we're going to allow the utility scale solar in the commercial district. We're going to allow data centers in the RC district. We're going to allow warehouses in an overlay we put over on Carlisle Pike.
Yeah.
Or we're going to allow data centers and overlay, and we'll overlay over on Carlisle Pike.
Yeah.
We're going to allow warehouses around the interchange. We're going to allow solar down by Heidelberg. You have that. That's what I recommend by separating those into different districts from a zoning interpretation perspective. If a use is specifically listed in one district, That means it's not permitted in the other districts. The only way it's permitted in multiple districts is if you list it in
You
multiple
let it,
districts.
yeah.
Right.
You know, or if you apply that district to other places. That's why overlays become popular.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to customize a specific area to a specific use.
Yep.
What I mentioned about that, the data center up in Cumberland, in Middlesex Township, is somebody that's trying to say, I think you're pressing that a little bit too far.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what we would do here. We write standards for each use.
Yeah.
And we put them in one area only.
Yep.
And we go from there.
Yep.
Now, to give you some ideas here, the commercial district, as I've drawn it, and what I did up in the commercial district was, especially the area down towards Carlisle Pike, all I did was include full properties there. It currently cuts the Harley property, the Hershey property, basically in half. I just included the whole thing. You know, we could, you know, it goes a little further down on South Ridge Road than I've drawn it. But have that in the rural mixed use, which is a different issue. It certainly could go further down there if you wanted. But just those current properties, the largest is less than 40 acres. If somebody wanted to compile the properties that are like immediately adjacent to the interchange to develop something bigger, you're talking about 170, but they're putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 properties, different properties.
Really tough to do. Yeah.
Right. So it's not impossible.
Yeah.
The properties
Even
in
that, you go
are
through all
not
that
big.
trouble and you still have 170 acres, which is de minimis for most of what we're
Oh,
talking.
yeah.
So now, for your setting in these uses, I don't want to talk performance standards too much in advance of the uses, but especially for the data centers and warehouses, I'd probably recommend writing it with what I call floor area ratio, which basically limits the amount of square footage that can be built based on the property size. So
Yeah.
So if you have like, here's a 20-acre property. You know, like the floor area of what's like 0.2, that would be 174,000 square foot building is the max that can be built for a warehouse or for a data center.
Preserve some of the green space on the property.
Right. The idea is that in fact we used to have to limit the size. You want a bigger building, well, buy more land. And now you
4 acres of floor space on a very large property.
So
The kind of limitation that makes a lot of sense.
right, it's an urban technique.
Yeah.
But we
It would work.
think it works to get to. It gives them. It's not rigid. You know, limiting the maximum size with some random number you pick. They want more, they can try to acquire more. That's the technique I would recommend using to try to put some controls on how big they can get.
Yeah.
Now, they're not going to like it, but that's not.
I hope they don't like it enough to go somewhere else. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's the whole idea here.
Andy,
Yeah.
what did you call that?
Floor area ratio.
So we know we have those tools at our disposal, but until we get the maps down to where those spaces are gonna be, we can't even. So we should
Right.
focus on that first. We know we have those tools.
Well,
But
we should also start on the data center zone.
And I
We
think
should get
that's
started
all
with that.
gonna happen down at the lower
Well,
RC.
even, no matter where it happens, I don't disagree with that. We should start writing it now, so we have,
We have it.
yeah,
Because we got into
Yeah.
trouble many years ago with Mr. Moomaw when we didn't have any zoning.
right. So where is the county on this in terms of giving help to the townships on getting it started? Anywhere?
for data centers.
Yeah, data centers.
I mean, I have a model that we've written in other municipalities that
Okay.
I can put together and send
So we
to.
have maybe copies of that to look
Yeah,
at.
let's get started. Okay.
I can I can write flesh that out a little more than it's written for another municipality. I have to pull some stuff
Okay.
that's in their ordinance
Yeah.
to put for you guys.
Okay.
But there,
Well,
it's,
it's easier to start with something than Franklin County or something.
Yeah. so,
Okay.
and we can go from there. But, that's like 2 tracks here. One is that run.
Yes,
running
we are talking two
presently.
tracks. Yep.
The second question is, which you still have to kind of answer, is where do you want to put it?
Well,
You know what I mean?
that area you have in gray up by the school, I would hate to see warehouse or more truck traffic up by the school district itself. I mean, I wouldn't want to see that. I think in regards to traffic, the solar or the data center is gonna have less traffic going on than a warehouse type deal.
Correct. A lot less.
So
A lot
one of those two might fit to have it up near there.
I'm sorry, which 2?
The solar fields or the data center may suit better closer to the school than a bunch of trucks coming in and out.
See, I feel like we're already where we want to be in solar. This
Yeah.
was very
We
conscious
pretty much got
that
that.
it was the commercial industrial, and if we're challenged, we'll deal with it, but it was commercial industrial. We don't have large commercial industrial. And that's,
It's a good thing.
yeah, and so I don't think we have to worry about providing any more for solar than we have. Because I think
But
we're
if
in
we're
good
gonna
shape.
rename these, then we're gonna have.
We have to be conscious of
Right.
that. Yeah, you're right. But to your point, if we look at that corridor and say, is there some place or some places? Because I don't have an argument for, a small data center. No one's going to put a big data center in our township. It doesn't make
We don't
any
have
sense.
property there.
Yeah. But first of all, you recognize that, first of all, I think the days of large data centers are already over. Everybody figured out that they're hated and they're being fought everywhere. But data centers aren't over.
Yeah.
This is the future, and just to be abundantly clear, AI is here. These data centers are a requirement, not a luxury for AI. They're a requirement. They're not as required to be as big as they are, and those sorts of things. Pennsylvania's high on the list. I've talked about that before in this meeting. I think we're 7th in terms of preference of states. So they're here. They're going to be here. They're going to be sliced up and diced in a way that they're more tolerable and more manageable. So my point, and I've said this, I said it the last meeting, I'll say it again. Give me a small data center over ruining farm property forever with a solar field, or over the truck traffic of a warehouse anytime. Now, there are issues, you have to plan for it, you have to deal with it. I'm not saying it's simple, but there are advantages to the data center over both of those others, especially small data centers. So I won't say that again, I've said it twice. So what I will say though, is that I think having a conscious approach with good standards for a data center in an area like we're talking about south, I'll call that the south area off of Old Harrisburg, or even the north area off of Carlisle Pike, that's a whole rezoning issue though. Both of them are rezoning, just different rezonings. That's something for us to consider. But in the meantime, that's track 1. Track 2 is we should get rolling with data center code. And my understanding, and I'm not the lawyer, but my understanding is once we have started the code, we can represent that to somebody walking in with a data center. I know it's not perfect, but it's a start.
So then we need to look at what we got here and we need to figure out where we want to put it and
Yes.
start getting the rules wrote down.
So I'll finish my speech. That's
So what I'm hearing is your current commercial district is where the solar is, where you want to prefer to remain.
That's certainly my answer, and that was consciously achieved through many discussions in the past few years.
Let me get to the warehousing, because that's easier question. Which setting is, each setting has its own issues.
Yeah.
Certainly up by the interchange, it's direct access to the interchange. So it would have there'd be less roads that would go through to get to where it needs to go. But it's gonna dump it onto 94 or around there, and it might go, I'll go north-south, it might go up to Carlisle and down to Hanover.
Right.
If you put it down in the pink area, you're in another interchange, but it's all going through the main intersection at Heidelberg to get there.
Right.
Not your township, but it's your commute, still your commute.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if the land down there might be attractive for that, but
Could be.
it might not be a great neighbor to Heidelberg and that sort of thing.
Yeah, a lot of truck traffic.
Over on, and some sort of overlay over on Carlisle Pike, is not near people, but it is near the school.
Yes.
So it's adding traffic there. But even if in the commercial district, currently around the interchange, it's still could add trips to 94 that would go that way anyway. Plant the county perspective here. I don't think putting warehousing down by Heidelberg is a great idea, simply because you're asking to put it through. If either the intersection of Heidelberg or the interchange here at 94 is great for it, but the interchange at 94 can be more easily fixed to address the problem than the square, what we call square in Heidelberg is.
Okay.
That's, again, from a transportation perspective, I think that's it's more logical to be able to improve things up there than it is down.
Up by the school you're talking about.
Well, I'm either by the school or by the interchange.
The 9415 interchange, that's what he means, the interchange.
Yeah.
So it's if it comes through there. Now, the flip side is if something like that did come through, they might be forced to make some significant upgrades there, which are needed in the first place.
Which are.
Well, it was sort of like the convenience place. The state said, you ain't gonna put it here unless you put a light, do all kinds of stuff, and they said, no way.
So
It may force them to do something like that.
Or force them to not
To
come
not-
here.
Right, exactly.
so
They take care of themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
for the solar and the warehouses, I think those might have less impacts in the commercial district than in the other two settings. Data centers, again, from what we know, data centers need to be kept away from people. It is what it boils down to. It's as long as we don't like it, if we don't see it, we might not like it, but you might not complain about it. That would point it towards either the area down by Heidelberg, because the properties are big enough there that it could be centered and pushed out. Or over on 94, where there's land. It doesn't require a lot of traffic when outside of the construction phase.
Right.
So it won't be adding a lot to
Next to none.
that.
Yeah.
So that again, I don't think that use is appropriate by the interchange. Only simply because there's it's too near people.
Too many people on it.
Right. And it's a use that doesn't go well with people, around populations. So I think that specific use either down by Heidelberg or over on 94. So So that, if you're looking for my 2 cents, that's what I would present you with to think about.
And would you do that in an overlay? At least in one?
For short term, like if you're doing something to do it now, immediately, probably. And I say that because if you put somebody sticking in your commercial district, that's going to permit it in both of those blue areas up there.
Yeah, unless,
And that might not be what you would.
no, that's not.
So you're either doing it as an overlay down by Heidelberg or
Yeah.
an overlay over there, and we roll the dice. That case isn't going to be decided anytime soon.
Right.
So I don't think that would be an issue. There's precedent in the county that Van Township uses an overlay, so it's not it's not terrible.
Right.
But so that's there. Now the flip side is, again, I don't know the property owners over there. I don't know if anybody, if on the 94 side, I don't know if anybody does. What reaction might be. I really don't
Being
know.
up by the school
Yeah.
wouldn't be good. I'll tell you that.
I don't know them, so I'm
It's probably safe to
I'm-
say
I'm
it's
saying
not
it's
going to be
looking out-
popular anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but really not gonna be good with some of them. They're probably not gonna be afraid to let the township know about it. Some people keep to themselves, but, I mean, I would say the overlay down near Heidelberg seems like the quickest and safest bet at this point, in my opinion.
There at the school, half of that is ganglands
yes. But on
that you have marked from that gray area.
yeah. On
It's just property.
on this map. On that one, yes. This one, no.
No, but I'm just saying that is gangland.
Yeah, that's what I.
It wouldn't be,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be
yeah.
included, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even convinced I'd include the school in
Mhm.
something over there. Just
Right. It would just be-
But let me go back to something you said. If we consider all commercial as equal, I take your point, but it doesn't have to be equal, because we can have rural commercial and we can have commercial. And we can say X is allowed in commercial, but like solar, but not in rural commercial.
Correct.
Okay. Because I think we're gonna end up with some of, for instance, we could have some of the bottom piece, we could do what you said on this map, hypothetically.
Yeah.
Call it rural commercial, but have an overlay in there for something. We can have an overlay in there for the data center in a spot where we say, that's the only place it's gonna work, but at least in some place. As an example, we could hypothetically have rural mixed use up on 94 at the school and not have an overlay in there for whatever we have an overlay in. So I'm only reacting to that because the implication, what you said, is all commercial is equal, and all commercial doesn't have to be equal. We can make it unequal.
But right now it is.
Yeah, I know.
So we would have to do something
We have to change.
with the supervisors now while we're in the process of doing this, is how I think it.
Yeah, we do.
So we would have to do an overlay in that specific commercial zone because currently everything is treated the same.
Yeah.
And that would have to be done like soon through the supervisors. And then when we finalize this, that would change that.
That would be an approach.
Aren't we're making these decisions and then recommending to the board of supervisors.
Right.
So we have to do this before we go.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
good.
we have
That's
to have
good.
this, not go to the supervisors now.
Well, we could.
We're not ready yet. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not ready.
Yeah.
There's two separate processes your tracks you're going down here. One is to get some protection in place for data centers now, and two is modernize the ordinance.
Right.
What I'm saying is that's fine. Help you through that,
Mhm.
but it would be helpful long term if we do the current state data protect for data centers, is we're doing that in the setting where you, long term, you that is where you want to accommodate that.
Right.
So because what we don't want to do is do that now and then change it
Have to change it, yes.
with the, put it somewhere else.
Right.
That's gonna be, that, you can do that, but that could be problematic. Somebody else could view that as problematic.
Right.
So if your intention is to put it over, or put it down by Heidelberg, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, that's a decision point that we kind of need.
Not change it.
Yeah, I realize it's one specific use, and we're not talking about use for the whole revision here. But because that one has another separate lane that needs to be done, we gotta talk about that one specific use.
No.
Right.
Now.
So is there a way to do that now with that one specific one where we don't have
There
to
is.
change it later? That's what we should do.
You don't wanna have to do something now that
No.
a year from now, you get modified. We don't-
Yeah.
I mean, if what you're saying is that
What's up?
Yeah, look, the problem
I
is.
mean, I see us working on this and working on the ordinance for data centers at the same time, and then with that conversation and working on both, you'll figure out where you want to put it,
Just do it all at once and be done with it.
you know?
And I think we can probably do it.
I was talking personally on this, but I think the place to put the data center is down there, old Harrisburg Road down in that area. Put the overlay on that for now. If that's what you want to do, I mean, put an overlay on that down in there and I can't see them going up along 94.
No, the other thing to keep in mind is even that they are resource hogs, and because of that, they need to be near things that provide those resources. They need to be near water service. They really need to be near a place to pull from the grid.
Or create their own.
Right. So they need access to a transmission line or a substation or something like that to get in, to pull from.
There's a big transmission line right there at Harrisburg.
And they're working on it right now.
Yeah, they've been
They're working on it right there. You're giving their extension cord.
It's not big enough. They need much more than that, so.
They throw the money at it.
I know, the point is, we're not an automatic place for them, but
Yeah, there's replacing poles there at Heidelberg if we're no good.
But there's a substation right on the other side
Can
of
you
the
make
road
them
too.
generate their own power?
it's not big enough.
It's only one city in India, 500,000.
I mean, that's Marlon just you said. I want to
I mean, there's.
talk about what you said there because that's an excellent point. Again, I'm putting my county hat on here. There aren't many places in the county that are great data
Correct.
centers.
Correct.
There are two that make sense from at least some of the resources they need. One is out by the Hunterstown substation, the Reliant plant, and two is somewhere where there's a substation and the Texas Eastern lines, because they can pull, if they have to, they can pull the gas out of there to service it,
To run the generators.
to run the
There's
generators.
gas lines right down here.
Right.
Well,
So
they're
there
right
is that.
That's a
Now,
pretty big
yes,
gas.
I fully recognize that people outside this room probably would have a different opinion of that, and that's perfectly fine. Unfortunately, we can't in Pennsylvania say, okay, we're going to permit this one use only in this location in the entire county. That just doesn't work. I wish it did, but it doesn't. But Marlon brought up the gas lines there, and that's a good point, because that's something that area down there has that nothing else does.
Oh, yeah, I was just sitting back here observing. What I'm getting is, and from Tom's comment, is that what's important is that we get something on paper so that we're not having this come in next week
That's what I
So
was
while
trying
you're
to
sitting
get
here
at.
doing mapping and trying to figure all this out, you got this big opportunity, a window open where there's no regulations. So why can't you at least put something on paper for the districts that we have already established?
Right.
So let me,
Maybe it ain't that simple, but.
No, it's close. We can begin to formulate the the standards of use for because the main concern right now is the data coming in. Formulate the standards of use. We can start with what you've already drafted. And then additionally, we can decide what's our least unfavorable place right now to put this and take that approach. And that helps us in both directions. And so, do you have enough to kind of reconstruct this?
I do. Let me ask one question here, because I don't want to contact Todd without asking you guys first. I mentioned the process by which you can get what they're set up, get some protection in place while you do this. I can bring that up to him, to ask him to that curative process.
Curative amendment, yes.
To see if that's something that he could look into and talk with the board about, if that's a process you want to go down. Again, we have an existing model that we've written. It's,
Has it been adopted anywhere? Okay.
It's right out of the model ordinance that York County did. A different version of it there. I can have that to you and the whole township by the next supervisor meeting. There. So if that is something that your legal staff would be comfortable with triggering that process, the only way you can get protection in now to protect yourself while you put these standards in is that process. Otherwise,
No, this isn't gonna be a hard, in other words, we can change it. I don't mean before it's adopted though. I mean before it's adopted, we can change it, to tailor it to what we want.
so what I would like to do is write it up, send it to everybody.
Okay.
You can look at it, revise it, and go from there. At the same time, I can do a map, what an overlay could potentially look
I
like.
guess what I'm asking, as long as we have documented proof that we're in the process, correct? Or not?
Well, the reason I brought up your legal staff is because I don't, different attorneys view that process.
That's a maybe. That's
I'm not-
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Money to
Because
spend,
we
they'll bank
down that
down.
path.
It costs money
Yeah.
to do legal process and reviews, and it's timely, and it's not every attorney likes it.
Yeah.
So
Let me ask this
do you want me to put the option on the table for everybody to consider? And then you can decide what you want to do, how you want to do it. I can do the standards and write them by the beginning of June.
Let me ask you this. I think from the discussion, the RC Pink District is where we're leaning.
Yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody here, that's where.
for the data center.
So, is there a way that we can say, okay, we're not gonna concern ourselves with the red lines, the yellow lines, and the overlay? Let's get the RC district, what we want it to be, get the ordinance in and make that done to where we don't have to do it later. Can we do that one step, get it done in a few months and be done with it?
Probably your quickest way to do it is do an overlay of that blue area down there
Just the bottom part.
on the existing zoning map.
Yeah.
Do that, go with an ordinance, get Andy, have
That's
that
gonna
ordinance.
Don't change the boundaries or
No,
nothing.
don't change
Leave it alone.
it.
Not yet.
The rest of this,
Right.
Yeah.
Not
the
yet.
rest of this has got to take the rest of the year.
Right, that's what I'm concerned
So-
with.
So we just attack that one area, put an overlay on it,
Yeah.
and do an ordinance.
So,
If the solicitor says that's okay.
so, so I understand. Take that out down there,
Yeah.
make that southern part. the-
What it is now, not this. what it
Don't
is
change the
now.
boundary.
Right, exactly. And then,
Add the overlay.
then
Find,
that-
find the overlay
that map.
in that,
and
that's the most
rough draft
appropriate.
text to everybody,
Yeah.
and then.
Yes,
and we-
not the whole thing is the overlay.
Right.
Find the overlay that's appropriate in
One
there.
area.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. And that, I can, like, since that part can be done and a draft sent to you before your next
And,
supervisor.
and we can start on the,
This board,
The ordinance.
this board can make a recommendation to the supervisors on
Right.
that. So that it's in something's in process.
Well, that's.
So that legally, we've
Right.
started the process of doing that. So,
My-
I know it's always a question.
Might not save you, but you still,
But we started.
it's a big step in the.
My question is this, because again, I don't want to incur, the township incur cost to have Todd read something that I send him
Right.
unnecessarily. Do you want me to send him that curative stuff as hey, has the township considered this as an option?
Yes, but can we do that, because that's
That has to be
gonna
a
cost the
supervisor.
township money, I think that's
Yeah,
the supervisor's
yeah.
decision at the supervisor's meeting.
So,
should make a
but who do you want me,
let the planning
who
commission.
do you want me to send, do you want me to send that to the township, to send it to, who do you want me to send that to?
I would like
Send
to
what?
see-
I don't know what you're sending. What do you mean?
I don't, the curative amendment process.
To review the curative amendment
Is
process.
that something that is worth triggering?
I wouldn't trigger it because I think we're not gonna need it. But it should be ready to go if we need it. I don't think we should trigger a curative amendment at this point.
Yeah.
Because the clock starts. And then if the clock starts, we have 6 months to write this.
Yeah.
We may need more than that. We may
Well,
need
We're not
better
pressured, we're
off.
not pressured yet, but
Yeah,
we need to get this process moving.
yeah. So, I guess my reaction to what you would say would be, and you should weigh in here. My reaction would be, Todd already understands the curative amendment process. We've talked about it in other contexts. So having him understand and be ready to go would take some work. I get that. I'm not suggesting it doesn't, but he's cognizant of it. And secondly, and asking his assessment of our approach here on providing the overlay in a current commercial area makes sense. I mean, one question I would have, how big does the overlay need to be for us to be credible on this? So that
Current district would be fine.
I wouldn't do the whole district though. I'd like to do a lot less of a district. That's a big district to say that our overlay is the entire commercial district.
Right, but in that.
Especially some of it doesn't make any sense.
Acreage wise, that area down there is probably 300 acres. That's,
I think we're just talking about the southern portion.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's not,
Not
it's
the
not,
entire.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
it's,
We talking about two roads.
Yeah,
it's probably
sweet
somewhere around 300 acres. In terms of data center, that's,
It's small. Well, that's why I was trying to make it even smaller.
Yeah.
No, they're not going to cross 15.
No.
You know,
No.
Between,
so why pretend
It's either got to be
are?
one side or the other.
We can't be the right side. There's no space on the right side.
too many voices going on.
Yeah.
Between old 15 and new 15, can we limit the overlay to that stretch?
you can limit to whatever you want.
I think that would be reasonable. I mean, they're not going to go on the other side of new 15. They're not going to go up on the hill on old 15. So,
So, what in terms of what you're saying is draw a box like
Yeah.
that.
yeah, by old 15, new 15.
That's a reasonable.
That.
Those are the places they're gonna try to buy anyway.
They're going to buy the big farms there.
They're not
Yeah.
gonna buy anything else.
2 people instead of 14.
Yeah. They're not going to
throw
cross.
money at two people.
Make that the overlay and initiate a process of developing ordinance for the data center.
It's peachy stuff.
Go through that, in the meantime, we can work on the rest of the stuff at more or less.
Without getting too clogged up,
Yeah,
detracting from getting other stuff done.
correct.
You want me on the northernmost part? Like, make sure. You want just everything to the south of the blue, right?
South of what?
The blue line.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That
Like,
makes
so
sense.
this one gets split here. You don't need to keep it where it's split.
Yeah.
That
The old,
makes
yeah,
sense.
this is the official zoning right now.
Yeah, that's
So we're gonna stay and clean it up. It's well organized.
okay.
To do that, don't we need to get the supervisor's permission?
So we're gonna make the recommendation this year.
Okay, after you do it, show us.
Wasn't data centers on this board's agenda
Yes.
before?
It was, yeah, about data center, yes.
Did
It was on last month, or last week.
did the board take any action?
No.
That we
because
were supposed
We needed some guidance and recommendation
Well,
for this.
the action was to ask us to do the work.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the action.
Right.
did that.
Yeah,
So he can draft us the overlay and the rules in it, and then we
Yes.
can take that and say, hey,
yes.
supervisor, we looked at it, we want,
This is what we'd like you to do.
yeah, we can't do anything until the supervisor.
Well, it got on the agenda because everybody's, it's a hot issue.
We don't do it.
Well, no, we have to come up with something. He's gonna give us a copy, we're gonna look at it, if we're happy with it, we send it to you guys, and then we got something in place.
And you guys have to vote on it.
Right.
We have to vote just on recommend. We only recommend.
That's right.
Let me.
Well, you could, but you do something more than that.
Go ahead. Yes, one conversation. Here we go.
Back here to, so I know what you want to keep that with the current ordinance there. So the business see this.
So you accept
Yeah.
Data centers down, data centers.
Can we have one conversation?
We're talking data centers down here.
Yeah.
We're talking keep solar in your commercial industrial setting, rest of that. Talking warehouses, which are currently in that setting too, by the way.
Correct.
Yes.
In that setting. It might not make it into the rural commercial.
It may not.
There.
Because we haven't written that yet.
Yeah.
And we're gonna let this area over here pull up.
We're gonna think about it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we did conclude to leave it alone.
Because my question, why are we even, is there a necessity to include that area for anything?
We don't know yet.
I mean,
Because we could be challenged that we don't have enough commercials. Because
So
it's been a problem from when I moved here.
okay, so
Here's what I learned 12 years ago in the PSATs, okay? I sat in these meetings just like this with township supervisors, which ours don't even bother to go. When you look at that map, you got problems. And here's why. You got this big township.
Yeah.
And then you want to save it all.
And
You say, I'm gonna put something here and here, but that ain't gonna work when the lawyer gets to you. Because, and you can't say, well, let's go over here in the swamp, because he ain't gonna build in the swamp. Because the first thing the lawyer's gonna do is come after you for that. And we don't have the resources to fight those people, they're too big.
That's ours. You're right.
So
zoning,
how do they determine enough area?
here, zoning,
Do they take the square miles in a township?
I've seen a
and then
lot
there's
of them
formula?
split up in quarters, maps.
So there's no formula that you're aware of that, is there anything?
Well, if there was a formula, we'd follow
Is
it.
there
The formula is what the court ultimately decides.
Exactly.
And they take into account the type of thing we're talking about. But one advantage we have is we're an agricultural township.
Exactly.
There's a default in this state to preserve agriculture. So we do get a first look in that you're preserving agriculture. That's good. You don't have to have as much commercial as Allegheny County or Philadelphia County. But the point is that there's no magic formula or would follow it. So what we try to do, and what I've tried to do since I got here, is to be reasonable in our approach, that we can defend it if we're attacked. So far, we haven't been attacked by anybody because we're a lousy commercial township. Now, that's not always necessarily going to be the case. You know, with more development along the 94 corridor, we could start to see some pressure there. The Heidlersburg exit, always ripe for attack. But Tyrone's going to be attacked before we are. So watching what happens to them is always a good idea. That's why I go to those meetings. So understanding what's happening around us is helpful. But we do have a default in that we're a agricultural township in an agricultural preferential area in Pennsylvania.
And
I know I didn't answer your question, but that's the best answer.
Well, but that doesn't mean you're not agricultural either. So if you zone this area commercial, the farms don't go away. That land you're talking about right now is still agricultural.
I know,
It's
still
been
farm.
zoned commercial for years.
But you at least have. to
So
provide
that's up to the farmer, not the zoning.
Yeah, it's up to the
No,
property.
well, it's up to us if
The
we
farmer's got to
don't.
decide whether he's going to sell his land to the commercial
If
developer.
he can.
If he keeps his farm and
Yeah.
plants corn, it'll never happen.
If he can.
So,
Yes.
the legal case, standard case that planners refer to often, I forget what the case name is, we call it, it's the path of growth case. And what it basically says is that there is no magic formula. You have from X amount of commercial, X amount of residential, et cetera. What it says is that municipalities that are in the path of growth have an obligation to provide for an amount that is consistent with that path. So that would mean, for an example, that, you know, Penn Township down in Hanover, where there's industrial, there's a lot of growth coming out of Hanover. They're in the path of that growth, so they have an obligation to provide for a bigger amount of growth area than a rural township that is not near that. You know, it's not a hard and fast rule, but where municipalities get into trouble with that is where they are clearly in a growth area that is an active growth. There's a lot of stuff happening and building out and expanding, and they try to put a cap on it by limiting it. That's more likely, not guaranteed, but that's where that path of growth case comes in. So there is no hard number, but there's case law out there that they'll follow. Huntington Township and York Springs are not at that level. You are under obligation to provide for every use. You're not under obligation to provide for the biggest version of every use. You know, you're also, just because the property isn't available doesn't mean you're not providing for it. You know, if you zone property, like take the farms down here at Heidlersburg, you're provided for it. Just because they're not for sale doesn't mean you're not excluding it.
Right.
That's right.
Just because the property owner doesn't want to sell doesn't mean
met
you're providing for it.
You've met the legal precedent, I mean,
Right.
Legal obligation, yeah.
You're not under obligation to provide them with property that can be bought.
That's kind of my point.
but
You're providing there, so if you don't do this, you provided there.
Right.
But it all comes down to what the court said.
Well, it comes down.
What we just talked about, we don't have enough.
And what enough?
But we just provided this area, but now it's not enough.
That map has stayed that way almost since 1999, except for exclusion of a couple small spots. That's what's not good in the grand scheme.
Yeah, it's 26 years.
That's a long time. So,
That's
Well, that's what it is, we're fixing it.
it's time to,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
time to fix it, and it's time to add some.
So we can't keep going back on what stuff's been for the last 15 or 20 years. We're working to fix it.
Right.
So, I mean, this one's current, right?
That's the colors are the current existing land use.
Okay. So, when I said about the property that was just sold on Old Harrisburg Road, and he's the rumor is that he bought it because it's commercial. It's not.
The road frontage is commercial.
Not according to this map.
Look at that map right behind you.
Zoning and use are two different things.
The current use of it is not commercial.
Correct.
The current zoning might be commercial, but it's not used that
So
way.
this is not necessarily.
This is not,
zoning.
this is not zoning, this is.
Okay.
This is just
Okay.
going to be a student.
All right, thank you.
Okay. We didn't talk about it, the gold color there, the rural mixed use district. That's pretty big there. It captures a lot of those smaller properties that have been developed along Old Harrisburg Road corridor there. It goes over on the east of 15 and east of South Ridge Road. It captures a lot of the properties that are currently in that finger of the commercial district that comes down there. It goes back to catch whatever the construction company is back. Creek Ridge.
Gravel was back
Green
here,
gravel.
you're helping Jay Weaver right now.
Yeah, right. Green gravel.
Now you gotta give him that 105 acres.
So it goes back there.
That could be a very useful
It's
zoning for us as we develop the bigger plan.
as I was putting it together and looking at I mean, it's, it has, big properties, but it has a lot of properties in the, 1 acre to like 6 or 7 acre size.
Yeah.
Big enough that they might be able to get like another residential lot out of it, or they might be able to put another large home business or something that's operated out of the whole building on the property as
Yeah.
a rural commercial use.
Absolutely.
Big enough to do a lot of that with. It's a it's very hodgepodge of lot shapes and sizes, indicative of something that developed a lot without zoning.
Yeah.
It doesn't neatly fit into any other sort of district.
Yeah.
But that's the full scope of what that would look like. Well, it might pull some things out of it or tweak it depending on what you think. And we certainly could bring that red district down where it doesn't go all the way down to where it is now. So you can kind of see from the blue area here, is the existing one. So you can see there's a big chunk of it. That's outside of it there. Those areas further down to South Ridge Road.
That blue line, that's what the current.
Yeah, so is that down here, it's bigger properties, which are great. So separate, we kind of expand it outside of those bigger properties. If you produce that might take this. So, but it kind of fits more with what that extension does with up there. So we didn't cover that, and it's not, it's a, once they left over, it's kind of.
It's worth covering. I mean, not tonight, but it's definitely worth covering.
So for next, so I have marching orders on the data center text right there. I'm going to work on fleshing out the map, looking more at adding.
Okay.
Some of get to the residential side here and start to add some of the other ones too. Now they've had this initial discussion here. And we'll see what we get to. I would expect next discussion next month is going to be pretty much dominated by the data center new overlay and the standards.
Okay.
And we probably won't get to much of this.
It's
That'll probably be
secondary.
enough.
It's secondary. Yeah.
Yeah, I just had that section along 94, Gun Club Road and 94, that area, that got on there, the gray area.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we make that an RMU area?
You could.
There's already some businesses in this.
There are. And that's one of the reasons why it kind of stuck out to us as something to consider. I had not considered that, but that's certainly something that it
I
could
think
be.
it fit. It seems like it fit there. It's small, they're small towns.
Would you like me to show what that would look like in that color?
What's the rest of you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'd be a yes.
Cody, see where we take, go out there, close it, and look at our.
See, that's something you can do to help your map.
Yeah.
Okay?
You're exactly.
You got a whole bunch of houses here, you mark it.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would
because
like
you
to-
accepted
and
zoning
we
in
have-
nineteen
we have
ninety-nine.
businesses-
Show your zoning.
We have businesses.
Because it ain't all agriculture like you think it is.
I
It's
would,
not.
I would like to see more of that RMU throughout the township. Now, again, I don't know this, we can decide what that RMU is gonna encompass.
That's right.
Right.
But for instances like my family business, there's no reason somebody can't have a weld shop anywhere in this
It's
township.
been there, I've been in business there since 1970. And
I just talked to a gentleman that lives in Tyrone Township. It's a retired auto mechanic and wants to work on cars out of his two-bay garage, and he can't do it where he's at. And that kind of stuff I think is ridiculous. So,
One thing I would say there is since zoning is advanced in a lot of ways, your current ordinance, there's a lot of uses that we've created that we can, to encourage that operating larger businesses
the
on
way it's
residential
been
properties.
is,
They were
for
about
everything
to-
up there in white, if it's not a tractor and something getting planted or an animal, you're out of luck. And I,
I've been trying,
That needs to
I've been
change.
trying for years to get this
That's something.
point across.
That's something we can work at. and-
yeah, that's not nothing that'll be decided overnight.
Just be clear.
Adjust that.
And it needs to be worked out.
There's a good one.
Just to be clear, there's a use type and standards in our typical zoning package that would accomplish what you're talking about in other districts beyond just
Right.
this. I mean, you could-
Including agriculture.
including in agriculture.
To your point.
No.
Right.
I would think of this way. We talked about like different intensities of residential, like a single family house, townhouses, apartments, etc. For home businesses, you have the no impact ones, which is no outward, no customer traffic, no nothing. You have home occupation, which is a little more traffic, smaller inside the house. Then you have another one which we call cottage industries, which is for, it can be in standalone properties like a pole building. It can have more intensity, more customers, more employees, bigger size, that sort of thing, subject to some design standards and things like that, where you have different intensities of that can go in different
Right now, we
settings.
have one
Right.
home occupation, and that's
Right, right. We've created
It's very
something
limited.
beyond that, which allows that, what you're talking about to happen. But that can be done it doesn't have to be stuck into all that rural mixed use district. It can be in rural district, it can be in that, we have it in ag districts. But it's designed to do
That's the
that.
point.
Yeah,
That's Cody's
we
point.
could work that in.
Yeah.
Yes.
What, okay, so if you're going to look into the data center proposal, I'd like to have this board make a recommendation to the board of supervisors that we, I want to say this, we're going to adopt an overlay. Well, my word, sound agree?
We're certainly headed in that direction.
In
Yes.
the southernmost
Southernmost commercial district.
commercial industrial district, existing.
Yes.
Yeah, the southernmost commercial. And also request that the supervisors initiate the process to adopt an ordinance to cover that overlay district. Is that?
What was your second point?
What was the second?
Because we're really not ready to do that until we get the information back.
Well,
We can do that then.
we can,
He wants to get permission from the supervisor to follow through with it.
yeah. But we gotta start the process, that's what I'm after, make the motion that we start the process to do an overlay district in the southernmost industrial,
Commercial industrial, yeah.
commercial industrial, and also, whatever the process is to adopt, an ordinance to cover that overlay.
Gather the information and
Okay, I have another question quick, and I'm just picking this up from your all discussion. You mentioned something about 6 months, once you start something. What was that about? Is this setting off a time?
Curative amendment.
Curative-
No, we're
That's
not doing that.
There's this process.
Okay.
We're
You don't
not
wanna do
setting,
that.
we're not starting we're not starting another
Okay,
clock.
just checking.
That's a curative amendment, a separate process.
But by us taking an official, well, we recommend it, if the supervisors take official action on it, then
The clock starts.
We're
clock
hoping.
starts, if somebody comes in, it's already, we started working.
Yeah, so you're, in a way, you're protecting.
We're trying to
Protect the
avoid a
township
curative amendment.
for that one.
We're asking the supervisors to give us permission to start working on the ordinance for the overlay in the commercial.
That's his motion.
That's what you're.
Okay, no, yeah.
Let's,
Let me get this
let's
right.
hash this recommendation out.
Yes. First, I wrote, recommend to the Board of Supervisors to adopt an overlay in the southernmost existing commercial district. But then you're saying,
Can't do it that way.
how about gathering information?
Gathering information.
recommend,
We're starting the process.
Start the
Why does
process.
We're really,
Why does that have to be a motion?
I don't
yeah.
understand that either, because as far as I'm
Just tell the
concerned,
supervisors that in response to,
the supervisors asked us to start working on this. This
Yeah,
is
they
part of
already
that.
proposed to start working on
Yeah,
data
that
centers,
was,
so
that was a
isn't that
motion at
part
the
of
last
it?
meeting. I'm fine with it.
My only point is, we make formal recommendations, and then the supervisors take action to tell us to do that, then that's locked in. At least in my experience. If something is started by action of the board,
I think,
So you've got something on
legally,
record.
you're probably
That's what
correct.
you're looking at.
So you
You've got
want
something on
us
right,
Yeah.
I already have it on
recommend to
record,
the Board
but
of
I'll do it if I do it.
Supervisors to give us permission to pursue.
The overlay and the data center ordinance.
Well, we already got permission to do the data centers.
Really, what you want is permission to look at this paperwork from the other.
Yeah, but that's
part of
already
what
part of.
they already gave us permission
Yeah,
to
that's,
do.
we already have permission for
We've
that.
been doing that for 2 months.
Yeah,
you know,
so recommend to the Board of for us to pursue the possibility of an overlay.
data center overload.
Andy, is there a way we can get rid of zoning in its entirety? Because before the whole county in here loses their mind, there are places in this country that don't have it. In fact, I own some property in those places that don't have it, and they don't encounter some of these problems. And when a data center does come in, they can go, hey, at least you put it here.
Yeah, you just don't want to.
Because the zoning makes things a little complicated. So can we scale back some of this operation maybe?
You can do whatever you want. It's worth pointing out that those municipalities that don't have zoning,
We ain't stopping it with our zoning here anyhow.
well, they're not stopping it either. Because the only thing that's usually stopping it there is the fact that the places are often so far removed from where the developer wants to be that they don't look there in the first place.
That's not true.
So, I do know of one municipality over in Franklin County that unadopted a zoning ordinance.
What county or what township is that?
I don't remember. It was on the west side of Chambersburg.
Hamilton doesn't.
Because what this 9 times out of 10 does
Maybe
here,
St. Thomas. They had it. They adopted it for the first time, and the board ran on unadopting it. That board won, and they unadopted it.
What, the whole thing?
The whole thing.
Here's what zoning does. It allows you to make all kinds of rules and regulations. That's the good part about it. That's why everybody likes zoning. Here's what they don't like about zoning. You can't keep nothing out. So you adopt something thinking you can keep it out, but you can't because you have to allow for it.
What it does do,
Helps you regulate it, right?
it puts, if it's done properly, it puts the uses in areas where it should be.
Okay, but why can't you do that without zoning?
But you know what happened, well, you know what, before we had zoning, now, I don't want to name the developer, but I will, Fox. He just plastered developments all over the place, out in the farmland.
But that's because we had no rules.
We had no rules. And that's
See, we
why-
needed rules.
But
That's
the
why-
zoning and the rules are separate.
You can still make your own rules.
Without rules and zoning, you end up with chaos, and that's what we had before. That's why Moonwalk,
Mr.
remember,
Moonwalk,
put a trailer
just
park
about-
on the side of a,
Yep.
Well,
Just
I
about
live in a town.
jammed, I forget how many hundred trailer park down our throats.
it's on steep grade, I mean.
Oh, it was a terrible place.
If you don't have a zoning ordinance, then your subdivision ordinance is the only thing it controls.
And that doesn't give you
And
much.
most subdivision ordinances don't have any dimensional standards. There's some of the older ones that did, but because they didn't have zoning, it just established it by use. But you could do,
Whatever you want.
and you could do that on any property you wanted, regardless of whether it was appropriate for it or not. So if you took your zoning ordinance out and you couldn't even put it by specific use. It would be, for industrial projects, these are your basic dimensional standards. They could do it anywhere. They could put the data center at the interchange. They could put it in the middle of the fruit belt. They could put it on whatever property was willing to sell them to it, and could meet those standards. They
Same with the
could do
solar
it-
field, it
do
could
it.
go anywhere in the county.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can still have zoning,
Yeah, I
but
don't get that. Look, I got 62 acres in Ohio and no zoning in a township. And I go to the board and I say, look, I want to do this or that. You can do this and that, okay? Here you can't. But when it comes to commercial and mobile homes, they hammer you on the rules because they control that. It's a township. They have a right to control that. They can tell you where to put it, how to put it, when to put it. No zoning.
Different states have different enabling legislation. In Pennsylvania, if you have zoning, you have to provide for abuse. If you don't have zoning, you're providing
It's a
for
commonwealth,
abuse
just
anyway.
like Pennsylvania.
But those are different rules.
Wherever you want.
Well, the rules are made by the township.
Under the state law. Okay, that's not our point.
Yeah, that's not,
Yeah.
back to what we were trying to finish out here, Roxy.
Yeah, somebody making a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors to pursue a data center overlay in southernmost existing commercial zoning.
Shouldn't that be just an adopt an overlay?
Well, that's what I had, and you told me no. Somebody said no.
Hey, what do you think? We recommend to adopt an overlay, is that? I know, I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, if you're just asking the elected body, give you permission to do that, like is this what we want to do? Give us your blessing, yes or no.
Read that back, what would it say?
Okay, which way would you like me to read it? Well, first one was recommend to the Board of Supervisors to adopt an overlay, a data center overlay in the southernmost existing commercial zoning properties. Then I changed it to recommend to the board to pursue a data center overlay in the southernmost existing commercial properties.
I like the second one better because
To
unless we're
pursue.
specifically asking what the overlay is, we're not asking them to adopt an overlay.
First one doesn't, says adopt, and that's not what you want.
Yeah.
What the-
So if we're doing one, I do the second.
Much better.
Okay, so recommend to the Board of Supervisors to give us permission to pursue a data center overlay in the southernmost existing commercial property.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
The motion's been made, is there a second to that?
Somebody please second.
Second by Kyle. Is there anybody, any questions on that?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So, there. It's like pulling teeth. All right. Andy, do you have anything else you want to, you're all out.
I don't want to get into a long discussion, but Andy, is this, look anything familiar to you? This is on data centers. This overall gradient of a township person, yes, and she took the liberty to print one of these for all of us. So in our continued data research.
Be helpful.
If you want to pass that
Yeah,
down.
sure. I've not seen this.
It looks like.
Is there another one this way?
You need another one?
Yeah, 30 moved on.
You can keep that if you want.
I'll take a picture of it. It looks like the township up there adopted an ordinance, and this is like a little one-page summary of what's in it.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
a review of it by somebody.
That's supposed to be a very,
It looks like, I'll have to see what this is. It looks like it's a review of the ordinance by some, the PA Data Center Accountability Group, whatever that is reviewing the ordinance, saying what it gets right, what it doesn't get right.
Yes, that's what this was. They looked at other people's ordinances and gave them a grade.
that specific, yeah.
Yeah,
smoking
and
gas.
that this was the one that got the best grade.
Okay.
So she thought that she could share it with us.
So we could look that ordinance number up and actually see
Yeah.
what it is.
Right.
Decommissioning bond, that's standard in a lot of energy or these type of uses, solar, et cetera. The geological land survey. I have not heard that, but that's what that says. Electricity rate impact, that's good, but I don't want to sound more negative. This is going to come off very negative, and I don't necessarily mean it that way. That's a great standard to have, but it's quite frankly not something that a municipal government has any control over. So, it's whatever, whoever it is, that the municipality, unless you're a municipality that has your own electric generation, there are some of those out there.
Well, when I see Shamokin, that's what I think.
They might, well, they might.
I don't know.
I don't know, but there's some that do,
Coal plant there.
have their own.
If that's where it's at, yeah, I don't know.
If that's true, then that makes sense, but for most municipalities, that doesn't, it's
And
irrelevant.
they have a coal burning plant there.
The,
You can put up a solar farm.
It was just some information
Can't use that on the
for
data
us,
center.
for our, as we look into our data and information.
and that property value impact study, that's.
Yeah, it is better.
There's a lot of things that are, but the question you always have to ask yourself, if you put a standard in place for a use, is
They don't put any anymore?
how do I as a municipality enforce that? And what gives me the ability to do that? Okay, you do a property value impact study, great, now what? What does that, what can you do about it? There's not much you can do about it, so I'll take a look at it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Let's see what the ordinance is compared to what we have.
Yeah.
Guess for public comment, next, Maria.
Yeah, this will be quick because we all want to get out of here. You had mentioned, Mr. Strife, about the to get back to the original purpose of this discussion, which was the zoning. What was the original purpose?
We were re-looking at the township zoning to make sure that we were in the best position to be able to provide for the citizens who need and want zoning. And some of the points brought up tonight are exactly on point about what if somebody is in an agricultural area that doesn't allow for them to have a 2-bay garage. Looking at zoning generally and then more specifically, making sure that we are in a defensible position if someone would attack the fact that we don't have a lot of.
So was it the township that initiated having Andy Merkel come in here, or was it the county that said you should look at your old zoning?
It was the township, as far as I'm concerned. We're the one that asked for it.
Okay. And in reference to the data centers, something that's never been discussed here in a couple meetings are the environmental and health issues. There was a symposium held in Goddard, Kansas, with 2 environmental experts discussing environmental and the health issues of residents. Is that going to be discussed here at these meetings in the future here?
Well, my answer would be yes, but we're limited in what our ability to either enforce, to Andy's prior point, any of those types of regulations. But those are things that we concern ourselves with at the level that makes sense for us to concern ourselves.
Okay. Because it is the supervisors, one of their responsibilities is the health and welfare of the citizens. Now, there are municipalities that have banned data centers for 1 or 2 years. Yes. Is that something possible here? Because this seems to be very fast-tracked. And we're going into, let's get an overlay and do this. And it just seems very rushed. That's all. That's fine.
Is that a comment?
That was a comment. That was a comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted. Your comment is noted.
Or else we'd be here. Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments? Upcoming meetings, the supervisors is June 11th, and the planning commission's next meeting is back to normal, back to June 22nd, which is the 4th on the calendar, but that should be the 4th Monday.
Must be 5 Mondays.
So, anybody else have anything on the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. I'll put you as a second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nobody.